Kendrick Lamar is back again with a new song that he has just released via Instagram. There's a couple of different working titles at the moment, but nothing is official at this point. If you guys are watching this maybe a couple of days after this is uploaded, correct us with the proper title in the comments if you don't mind. But let's get into this because it's been a crazy time for hip-hop. We just got the announcement that Kendrick Lamar was going to be headlining the performance of the halftime show at Super Bowl 59. That was back on Sunday, and that created a lot of controversy just because a lot of people expected Lil Wayne. You had people from one side saying that he deserved to have it, people on another side that said that this was a big marketing ploy. Whatever the case may be, we still understood that it was Kendrick's season and that an album was likely to come before, after the Super Bowl, but probably within the next 5 months. But I don't think any of us expected new music this soon. So what are your thoughts on just the release of the song?
Well, listen, we spoke about this at least in a previous episode that we just put out, and we were having the conversation, where does he go from here? And we've had the conversation before in previous live streams where we felt like Kendrick was maybe going to go on a huge victory lap, right? Especially after announcing that you're going to be performing at Super Bowl 59 for the halftime show. That's a massive event. That's going to be televised to millions of people. The whole world is going to watch you perform diss tracks from the battle. There's no better way to really triumph and to parade around the city than at the Super Bowl. And what I thought was going to happen is maybe a bit of radio silence, right? Let the announcement go a bit, wait till the Super Bowl maybe to release some music.
Yeah.
Who knows? But to be quite honest with you, bro, it's always so hard to fucking tell what this guy's going to do. It's chess move after chess move. He doesn't give a fuck. He's going to move on his own time. And I feel kind of sorry here because I've never been able to call a Kendrick move. I'm going to say that right now. It's so hard to really call what this guy's going to do. There's certain artists that are predictable with their release dates. We've been covering the genre for 5 years now. We've been doing rollout videos, whatever the case may be. But it's always a surprise with this guy. And another thing, I have to say this too. Another thing that's really surprising about this song is that in the trailer for the Super Bowl announcement, he said no round twos. But going into the writing of this, I'm not saying that this is going to ignite a round two.
It's not a direct Drake diss track.
No, it isn't. But there's definitely words for Drake here. There's words for the streamers and the influencers. There's words for everybody here. This almost feels like the sun is setting. Kendrick did what he had to do. It's a new day tomorrow. Let's move on. Let's be happy. And maybe this means new work. This sort of summarizes everything for me into one song. So let me ask you that, all right? Off of first listen, what are your impressions? What do you take out of the writing? And where do you think he goes next, maybe with the next track or maybe the next music?
Well, like you were saying, I think we all expected victory lap-esque music out of Kendrick coming off of these celebrations he's been on when it comes to announcing the Super Bowl, whatever else, and winning the battle, of course. But instead of getting some triumphant anthem, instead you get this very dark track. And I think that's what's the most interesting to me is that Kendrick is coming back with that silent but menacing tone that we heard on Meet the Grahams. But there's also elements of 616 in LA within this track where he's really talking about his disdain for the industry. And I feel like that's what's interesting is that even though a lot of these words are clearly meant for Drake, there's a lot, targeting the industry as a whole, the music industry, the entertainment industry, etc. But speaking about one of those elements that reminded me of 616 in LA, it was the production, which was produced by Cardo. You have this heavenly beat, some nice soulful vocal chop that lingers in the background, and some jazzy strings, super low key, and kind of plays in the background. I don't know if you agree, but it's not really what you focus on when you listen to the track.
But you don't necessarily need a production Not Like Us or like that Uncle Al Meet the Graham sort of production that kind of stands out and rings off. This is really Kendrick talking from the soul, and it feels like there's sort of this not conflicting energy, but it almost feels like
Well, yes, kind of conflicting energy, like 16 in LA, where it's do I go for his head or not?
It's almost as if, because we're going to talk about the Lecrae bar after, but it's almost like post-war, right? It's like a soldier that just came back, and it's like, fuck, what just happened, And he talks about how he had to do some shit. And honestly, this happens within the first 3 bars. You go to verse 1, and he starts off the song like this. I think it's time to watch the party die. This shit done got too wicked to apologize. It's different. Get him whacked and disqualified. And right off the bat, you know what was going on.
You know who he was talking about, but there's no denying it. Then you have other words for Drake that include just walk that man down. That'll do everyone a solid. I mean, again, who else is he talking about? Because I see a lot of people saying that this isn't a diss track at all and he's not coming for Drake whatsoever. I disagree. And that's what's interesting is that, like we were saying, this does feel like an epilogue for Kendrick where he's overviewing the battle and the aftermath of it. But even though it doesn't seem like he wants to re-engage in that battle, he is instigating Drake's ass, bro. Like, he is clearly, it feels like to me, a part of him is baiting Drake back in a little bit. A little bit.
Okay, but listen, this is what's interesting as well, right? You read these next bars, and this is where like the contradicting emotions kind of come through, right? It's love, but tough love. Sometimes you gotta result in violence. If you parade in gluttony without giving the truth to the youth, the graveyard is company. Just tell us what casket to choose.
Oh, the poetry there, bro.
It's incredible.
Insane writing.
So basically, if you want to break down the bars, Kendrick is obviously referencing Drake in this one.
Yes.
Talking about how he probably does have love for Drake. I mean, that was no secret, but at the end of the day, like, he had to do everyone a solid, and this was going to end up in violence regardless of whatever happened, right? This was years in the making. And
Absolutely.
then even talking about maybe Drake's music in this bar, saying that, like, you know, if you're going to parade and talk about the riches and make these bangers, but you're not going to make content or material for the youth and for the next generations to come, then we're gonna have to assassinate you, and you could choose your own grave while we do it.
And that's the biggest message that I get out of this entire song, is that it feels like Kendrick is trying to cleanse and purify hip-hop culture and push artists to make music with a real message and that has a lot of substance to it. It feels like he's done with all the bullshit, all the party tracks, all the meaningless tunes that are dominating the airwaves. Like, it felt like that was his mission in taking down Drake, and it feels like that's still going to be his mission going forward. Another reference I picked up on when Kendrick says, they wonder why I'm not enthused to drop. He's responding to Drake on Tailor Made Freestyle, because Drake also used the word enthused when speaking about Kendrick when he rapped, since like that, your tone changed a little, you're not as enthused. Maybe this one's a bit of a reach, but I'm kind of connecting it back to Tailor Made.
Because it was definitely an angle that Drake took within the battle, and he used the word in his own lyrics. So, I mean, it definitely plays into this. I just think that at this point in time, Kendrick Lamar has a new agenda on his hand, and he definitely wants to create a new space for hip-hop. And I think that it was time for a new wave of artists to sort of have a new shine and a new type of message. And I like what he did with this song, because it wasn't all about violence. It wasn't all about, the battle. It feels like, okay, this happened. I had to do this. I definitely did my shit and I did it properly, but let's go in now into the next phase with a new mentality, And to see that he kind of still maybe has love for Drake, but that he had to show some tough love, that's interesting to me. That's what's interesting throughout these lyrics.
I'll be honest though, like I'm not totally seeing I'm not totally seeing that perception. My perception is different from that. I'm not interpreting it that way. If I'm being totally real with you, I'm not seeing it that way.
Okay, that's okay. Yes, you're right. It's up for
I have more digestion to do with the track. Another one, potential shot at DJ Academics, the radio personality pushing propaganda for a salary. Another reference though, besides that, he mentions a Lil Wayne feature, like the song title of it. He says, "Heavy metal's on my sword. We settle hard disputes today. The Ghetto Hollywood Divorce." And that was an Outkast song that featured Lil Wayne. I don't really know what he's saying, if he's alluding to anything there or not, but I just found it interesting that he did mention the name of a Wayne track. But ultimately, it's a very interesting track coming at a very interesting time, because it feels like we don't really know what Kendrick's intentions are going forward when it comes to what his new music's going to be about. Like, clearly he's on a mission. We established that. He's on a mission to sort of like try to change the future of hip hop for the better. But that being said, he is not letting go of Drake entirely. Like, it seems like he still has him in the chokehold, and he's still like, yes, all right, bro, like I'm going to keep hitting you, and like now you're going to look thirsty if you come for me, but I'm going to keep slapping you a little bit. You know?
But at the same time, it almost feels like there's a new chapter upon us.
It does.
It like you said, this feels like it's the end. Like if you had to really sort of close everything together. And what's cool too about this track, I'm not sure if you noticed it, but the way that it's kind of packaged, it's kind of packaged the way that he released his other diss tracks. This is maybe gonna hit DSPs.
And what did you think of the cover art? We didn't touch on that. You had the black Air Force Ones, which just was like some villainous shit to do.
Absolutely, but that's what's crazy though too, is that like, let's say you look at the 616 in LA cover, you look at the Euphoria cover, like you look at, let's say, even Meet the Grahams, Not Like Us, they all had like these sort of ominous pictures attached to them, right? Something that kind of spoke to the song and something that had it. Like, I feel like this is a part of the collection of songs that just dropped within the recent months of the battle. So
it feels like a continuation of 616 in LA. Even the fact that that one was also only released on IG, it really does feel that way. But Kendrick is just showing us that he is comfortably sitting on the throne, and he's going to keep putting out these lyrical masterclasses. He's done it again with this track. Super exciting. I don't think it's going to be a lead single for the album or anything like that. I do think that this is just another Lucy. But I wouldn't be surprised if this does lead to an imminent rollout. I wouldn't be surprised if he decides to start rolling out the album this fall.
It's crazy, bro. And he's even questioning like his own moves on this. Sometimes I wonder what Lecrae would do. Like, that's the line that really, like,
shout out to Lecrae.
Yeah, absolutely. But I feel like that's just such an interesting like way to start off that third verse, right? It's like, because then he goes into context and he's like, what would he do? Would he go to battle, or would he pray? And would he just let that do the work and the talking for him? So was there like conflicting emotions with Kendrick throughout this battle? Like, that's what's so interesting about this song.
But again, plays back into 616 in LA in so many ways. Even the fact that on this hook, he's speaking directly to God, did the same thing on 616 in LA. Him having conflicting emotions and wanting to, tap in with his spiritual, religious side, i.e. mentioning Lecrae. Again, so connected to 616 in LA.
And this is what I think, that, we're on to a new chapter. I think that even if Drake tries to drop something against us, I think it's over. Reason being, look at the way that he ends off the song. Looking outside, the kids live tomorrow because today the party just died.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And what's interesting, too, verse 3, I want to be empathetic, my heart like D1, but I will... And he leaves it blank. Like, there was an incomplete sentence there that he purposely left incomplete. I don't know what he wanted to say there, but he did that twice in that verse.
Yes, but it also feels like he's moving on. He's done with it.
He is, but he puts Drake in an interesting situation. I don't want to make this all about Drake, but...
No, and I don't think you can, because at the end of the day, like, I feel like whatever tracks we're going to be getting next... As far as maybe new material goes, we'd be like, oh, that's for Drake, that's for Drake, that's for Drake.
We will.
There's always been
here,
some glimpse throughout
it's very clear.
Of course.
It's black and white.
The ones that we read out, I just feel like he had to do it, because you're not going to drop this track, especially attached to everything else, and not put him into the music. It was going to be a huge elephant in the room. And not only that, but the way that he ended off the song, I'll repeat the lyrics again. Looking outside, the kids live tomorrow because today the party just died. He's basically saying, like, I came in and I stomped on this shit. It's over.
All I'm saying is that if you're Drake right now, it would be very fucking tempting to respond to this in some way.
Yes, but
I'm not saying it's the right move. I'm not saying he should. All I'm saying is that right now he's being kicked while he's down. And it's going to be interesting to see what he does, bro. Because Kendrick is really...
I think they all move on, bro. I think they need to.
That's what needs to happen.
I think that's what needs to happen. Like we spoke about this in the last episode, man. There's nothing for him to do at this point.
But he's instigating him. That's all I'm saying. He is poking the bear once again.
Yes,
so all I'm saying is that if Drake does choose to respond, again, I think it's maybe a poor chess move, but you almost can't fault him because he's being kicked while he's down.
Yes, but at the same time, Kendrick is talking sort of in the past tense to where he's like, I already killed him. I already did this. So if that already did happen, how is he gonna come? Like, you get what I'm trying to say? Like, that's what.
But I'm just saying. Right now, it's just like, as much as I'm enjoying this, it's like he's running over the body. Like, that's kind of what it's like.
Yes, no,
he's adding insult to injury.
But these don't feel like disses. These feel like this feels like a recap. You get what I'm trying to say? Like, there's like, that's the way that I kind of look at it.
To some degree,
it's not like, come here, I want to do this again.
No, it's not.
It's like, this is what happened in the past couple of months. This is where we're going to go next with it. Mm-hmm. The party's over. Now it's time to make some good fucking music. So, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, Kendrick Lamar is a master at work. We witnessed it in 2024. And listen, hopefully we get an album sometime soon. But, guys, we're going to be covering Kendrick on the channel.
And we also recently did a video
Yes, we
speaking
did.
about the possibility of a round two and what we expect to come out of Drake and Kendrick Lamar's future releases.
You know what this week kind of felt like? Remember when we released like certain episodes, bro? Like in the week of like diss tracks, it's like, fuck, we just released that episode and like now you get this right away. So if you guys want to go watch it, it's literally the most recent upload right after this. We appreciate your guys' time. Thank you so much for sticking with us, and we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.